Welcome back to Sim Sunday and another in our Interesting Approaches series. Today we're back at London Heathrow in Terminal 2, the Queen's Terminal, this time on board an Aer Lingus Airbus A320, which, as you can see from the video description, I plan to fly from here in London Heathrow across to Belfast City. You may be asking yourself what is special about the approach into Belfast City. The answer, I guess, is not a terrible lot, but what I find really interesting about Belfast City, other than Belfast being my hometown, which I left more than 25 years ago, but the airport itself has a rather short runway, only 2 miles from the city centre, and as a result I've always been amazed at how these larger aircraft manage to land safely at the small city centre airport and of course take off. But today, being an Interesting Approaches, we're really only interested in the arrival to this excellent little airport in the United Kingdom. So getting straight into sim brief, today we're departing on runway 09 right here at Heathrow with a left-hand turn shortly after takeoff, routing towards Wembley and North London, before routing towards the Midlands, then the northwest of England, overhead Morecambe Bay towards the Isle of Man, and then into our descent to Belfast City, where despite what SimBrief is showing, we will actually be landing on runway 04, so an approach overhead the city of Belfast, heading in a northeasterly direction towards Belfast Lough. Right, I'm going to shut up now and get this flight to Belfast City underway. And before I started recording this video, I completed all of my pre-flight checks, including the programming of the FMC, the setup of this short 55-minute flight from London Heathrow to Belfast City.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Locking gear. Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will. Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Shamrock, Niner, Tree 1, taxi holding point for runway 9 right, using taxiway Sierra Bravo, November 5, Echo Alpha, Echo Bravo 5, Tree Yankee, November 1, 1, contact tower on 124.475, entering the IFR, Cessna Golf, Kilo, Kilo, Foxtrot Alpha, taxi holding. Taxi, hold short, run Yankee, November 1. Ground, bird 86. Control tower, Shamrock, Niner, Tree 1 at runway 9er, right, ready for departure, IFR to Belfast. Shamrock, Niner, Tree 1, fly up and play, runway 9er, right.
Approaching 09 right. On runway 09 right.
Tower, Emirates 8 at runway 9er right, ready for departure, IFR to Dubai. Emirates 8, fly up and play, runway 9er right. Flying up and play, Emirates 8.
As we depart the London area heading towards the Midlands and then the northwest of England, some of you may notice something slightly different about our Airbus on this particular flight over previous flights you may have watched here on the channel. First of all, since the last video I recorded, which was the last in the narrow body ETOPS series when I flew the Air Canada Aerosoft Airbus A320 from Toronto to London Heathrow via St. John's in Newfoundland, you will notice that an iPad has appeared in the cockpit, and that is because I've upgraded my Aerosoft Airbus to the latest version, which at the time of recording this video was 1.3. The second thing you may be noticing from that last flight that I made in that Air Canada flight to London Heathrow from Toronto is my scenery over the United Kingdom has changed ever so slightly. You may have remembered me talking about Orbx True Earth and the fact that I was going to delete it. Well, as you can see, I did delete True Earth, leaving me with Orbx EU England and EU Northern Ireland, which you'll see shortly on the approach into Belfast. I purchased the EU series from Orbx a number of years ago before I purchased True Earth. But as I said in that last video while flying the Air Canada flight into London Heathrow, Orbx True Earth United Kingdom was absolutely killing my PC, despite me having an i9 with a very decent NVIDIA graphics card. So as I start my descent towards Belfast City, overhead the Isle of Man, you will hopefully appreciate that giving up True Earth has made for an awful lot better graphical experience as a tubeliner pilot. I think it is really fair to say that if you're buying the True Earth series from Orbx, you're flying low and slow. Right, as we're descending beneath the clouds, we're overhead County Down in Northern Ireland, being vectored towards runway 04 at Belfast City. This means we're approaching overhead Lisburn, following the M1 towards the west of Belfast before travelling overhead the city centre en route to the small runway at the Shorts Aircraft Factory next to the Harland and Wolff shipyard and those two awesome cranes, Samson and Goliath. So it is at this point that I'm going to shut up again and concentrate on landing this Aerosoft Airbus A320 Professional in the livery of Aer Lingus.
Airport file. Fly runway heading. Climb and maintain altitude 13 file. Fly runway heading. Climb and maintain decimal 85. Squawk 6551. Cessna Tango Hotel Yankee. Correct. Contact ground on 130.75. Diner Tree 1 cleared to land, runway 4. Cleared to land, runway 4. Shamrock, Diner Tree 1. 0125. Jersey Tree 1 cleared to Inverness Airport, S file. Fly runway heading, climate mean.
1000.
13,000. Departure on 130.85. Squawk 0125. Jersey Tree 1, correct. Contact ground on 130.75. Belfast Tower, Cessna Echo, Echo Hotel, runway 4, please approach 5 Mark.
Approaching 04.
Runway 4, traffic Airbus Sunwell. Hold short runway 4, Cessna Echo Hotel, Yankee. Belfast Round, Jersey Tree 1, with information Victor, Tree 1, taxi holding flight for runway 4, using taxiway
400.
Contact tower 130.75, when ready. Taxi hold short runway 4,
100 above.
taxiway Alpha, Jersey
300. Minimum 200. 100, 50, 40, 30, retard, 10, 5.
meters remaining.
As you can imagine, because I'm originally from Belfast, I've flown into Belfast City Airport probably more than 100 times in my life. And on many of these flights, I've flown from London Heathrow in a British Midland or a BMI A321. I used to really enjoy the service on board British Midland, or BMI as they were called just before they were bought by British Airways. And as we turn around to backtrack along runway 20 towards the terminal here at George Best Belfast City Airport, you are going to see that Ultimate Traffic Live is still delivering the traffic of Flybe, another airline that sadly is no longer with us. But it is also here that we bring this episode of Sim Sunday to a close. The Real Airbus pilot and I have already recorded and have got many videos in this interesting approach series in the pipeline to bring you here on the channel. So until that next video, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to follow the Real Airbus pilot and I as we attempt to demonstrate what you can do with a copy of Flight Sim and a PC.
Cessna Tango Hotel Yankee. Contact Belfast departure on 130.85. Over to 130.85. Cessna Tango Hotel Yankee. Goodbye. 331 cleared for takeoff. Runway 4, service wind 0905 at 10. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 4, 331.